Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk about 5 cards, specifically hand traps in this video, that I think you should pick up now because no one's thinking about them. They're not really meta relevant at the moment, so you kind of want to pick these up before they get hyped, before they get meta relevant, and that way you can save a bunch of money or get the highest rarity version that you want without having to compete with everyone trying to pick these cards up at once if they become big. So I think I'm going to just go through them one by one. I got 5 hand traps for you guys today, and yeah, we'll talk about them as we go. I do want to add that in these 5 hand traps, 2 of them are, fairly popular or well known, and then the other 3 are going to be like, what the hell does this card even do? I have to go read that. So yeah, the first 2 are going to be kind of obvious, just like formerly meta hand traps that are not meta right now that you should grab, and then the last 3 are going to be kind of totally off the wall, but I think they're going to be relevant at some point, and I'll talk about when. So our first hand trap that I want to talk about today is Fantastical Dragon Fantasme. This card is insane, and the reason it's been irrelevant for so long is that for the past few formats, there's always been a top contender that doesn't link summon, and therefore you can't really main deck this card. I still think it's very viable as a side deck card right now even, but yeah, since we had Eldritch was like top tier, and then we had Virtual World, and that didn't link summon, at the time before like the Helk lines came through, and then we had Sword Soul and Despia, and now we have Tearlament, and we still have Sword Soul and Despia and all that kind of stuff. So Fantasme can't really be main decked at the moment. Nobody's thinking about this card. This card used to be like $120. Right now, I think the first Ennier mints are sitting around like $28. So if you want the secret rares, which I highly recommend, it's one of my favorite artworks and favorite rarities, you should go ahead and pick those up now. They have supers, they have ultras, but they're really cheap right now. There's also like an alt art gold. Those are all super cheap. So if you don't want to go all out for the secret rares right now, go ahead and pick up some of those cheaper copies while they're only like $1 or so each, because at some point all of the meta decks in a format will link summon, and that's where this card will be insane. Drawing on your opponent's turn is awesome. Fixing your hand, this card just does so much, so highly recommend picking these up right now. Alright, so the second hand trap I want to talk about, this one is actually kind of in the meta right now, at least as a side deck card. Definitely viable to play right now, but it's definitely not main deck material. It doesn't crush any of the top tier decks like Sprite or Tearlament. It's pretty good against Despia, but anyways, let's talk about it. This is Artifact Lancia. So this card against the right decks is insane. It's just a turn skip. If there's some deck that comes out that's top tier that has to banish for effects, and you drop Lancia on them, this is a turn skip. This is, I would say, about equal power to Dimension Shifter. It just doesn't hit as many things as Dimension Shifter. And so if there becomes a time where we have to play Lancia, you're going to want your secret rare copies. Highly recommend picking these up. I think they're like $10 a piece. It comes in common, but I think this is the only hollow rarity, so definitely scoop these up because they're going to be I guess prime pickup material for anyone that wants to play Lancia in their main deck, and whenever it becomes big in the meta, you're going to want these, and you're going to want to have them in your collection. Alright, let's get into our third hand trap, and for the third hand trap slot, I actually have 2 hand traps side by side because they do the same thing. I don't know which one will become relevant because you don't know which decks it will be played in. So yeah, let's go ahead and just jump in and talk about it. So these 2 cards are Performage Damage Juggler and Life Force Harmonizer. Damage Juggler was definitely relevant for a while a few years ago, but Life Force Harmonizer I don't think ever saw any play. If you don't know what these cards do, the basics of it is if your opponent activates an effect that includes the effect to inflict damage to you, you can negate the activation and destroy the card. Now, the situation I foresee these becoming relevant is when there's a meta deck that comes out that says, for example, like a monster that says, special summon 1 monster from your deck and then inflict 200 burn to your opponent. So this card would negate the entire effect. Your opponent would lose their monster. So it would be almost like a gamma against that particular archetype, and that is insanely strong because you don't have to play something like Driver. I know that particular effect Ash can hit as well, but maybe there's a range of effects of this archetype that says, okay, summon from deck and burn 200, summon from grave and burn 200, summon from extra deck and burn 200, and Ash can't hit those, but these type of cards can hit any of those kind of effects. The reason I have two options up here, so we have Damage Juggler, which is a bit better because it also has the effect to discard to negate battle damage, but we don't know what decks are going to be meta at the time, and therefore this Psychic, type of Life Force Harmonizer might come up, the Wind attribute might come up, the level 2 might come up, so whichever of these the rest of the meta can make the most use of will be played. So yeah, do we need a level 4 Light Spellcaster, or do we need a level 2 Wind Psychic? We don't know, so I would recommend picking up a set of each of these just in case. Ulti first eds are like $8 a piece, so everybody loves ulti Handtraps, and if Life Force Harmonizer becomes meta, you're going to want to have a set of these. Get them now before anyone knows about this card even. And then ultra rare Damage Jugglers are like $1 each, so I would definitely recommend picking up a set of these. Harmonizer only has 2 prints, and it's from its original set. It never got reprinted. It has an ultra and an ulti, so definitely recommend picking up those ultis while you still have a chance. Okay, the fourth card I want to talk about, this one is, it's a bit known actually. People were playing it back in like Shadal format and, I don't know what else. But yeah, let's go ahead and talk about that. It's Retaliating Sea. This card, when your opponent activates a spell card that would summon a monster, you can activate this card and then summon it. And then while it's on the field, everything is banished instead. But the key part of this is that when Retaliating Sea goes to the graveyard, you can search an Earth insect monster. So if Max Sea comes off the list, it will be on everyone's radar. I don't know if it'll see play, but at the very least, everyone will buy it. So as a pure investment strategy, I would pick up a set of high rarity Retaliating Seas, and then when Max Sea gets unbanned, this card will go to the moon, and then you can just sell it off then and keep your commons or whatever, because honestly, this is so like meta dependent, and there's quite a few copies. I wouldn't worry about picking up too many of these cards. Just have it on your radar. Did it just get reprinted in Ghost from the Past too? Yeah, maybe. But just have this on your radar. If Maxi comes off, people will overreact to everything as they always do, and definitely buy this card out. So yeah. All right, and the fifth and final hand trap I want to talk about in this video, I actually don't have any copies of to show you, but this hand trap is Psy Frame Lord Epsilon. You guys probably know about Gamma and what that does. That negates a monster effect. Epsilon is the same but for trap cards. And the reason I want to bring this up is because there's the Trap Tricks structure deck coming out, and they super revolve around having Sarah on the field and then them activating a trap card. And they want to do this on the first turn, so if you can negate that trap card, you can pretty much stop their Sarah, especially if it's Shade Brigandine. If you negate Shade Brigandine, send it to the grave. They can't have another one because there's a trap card in their graveyard now. If there's some other like new Trap Tricks trap card coming out that you can just activate on turn 1, then this can stop that as well. And you may say, well, you could just play Gamma and stop the Sarah. That's true, but this has the additional utility of being able to stop things like, they go first, set up a board of traps, and then pass, and then on your standby phase, they flip up some kind of floodgate, and Delta can stop that as well. So it's kind of like a double utility card, whereas you could just Cosmic Cyclone their floodgate, but this way gets you like a monster and Gamma on board, and you can just go into Chaos Ruler or go into like, I don't know, whatever level 8 synchro you want to do into their board, and start baiting out multiple traps at once with just one card. So just keep it on your radar. I think it could come up. Be aware of it. Pick up your copies. It only has 1 printing. It's in common. And there's like 50 listings on TCG, so definitely capable of being bought out if something were to happen or come up where that would be relevant. So yeah, I just wanted to bring these to your attention. In future videos, I'm going to do similar things for like spells and traps that are not currently meta, but could be in the future. So if you like this type of video, go ahead and subscribe, leave a like, comment, whatever. so you don't miss the next one. Subscribe because it's free, and we'll catch you in the next one. We'll see you later.